And I think the first thing is, I think people often underestimate that power of a smile. So, that smile, it's this universal connector. It's something that everybody understands. It's something that we learn from childhood. So, a smile is something that just breaks the barriers because you feel seen and people feel happy. And, immediately as you smile, it releases feel good chemicals. It improves your motivation, it calms your mood, and it reduces pain and anxiety. So that simple movement actually can lower those levels of stress straight away and just show that someone matters and you actually see them.
This is Chocolate and Coffee Break, a compassionate proposition, a space to share stories, bridge divides, and spark meaningful connections. So grab your chocolate, pour your cuppa, and let's break down barriers, one conversation at a time. And now, here's your host, Andrea Pudding.
And welcome to another episode of Chocolate and Coffee Break. So if you've got your chocolate and your cuppa and you're ready to have a sweet and warm conversation. So every day we pass people in the street, in a shop, in a queue, and often we barely see each other. Yet sometimes the smallest gesture can change someone's entire day. A smile. Not the polite kind, the kind that says, I see you. My guest today is Sally Pymer, has spent years working with people who often feel invisible or judged. And she's discovered that sometimes the smallest moment of recognition can open the door to connection. So grab your chocolate, pour your cuppa, and let's begin. So welcome, Sally.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Andrea.
I'm looking forward to this conversation, and I know there's going to be lots of smiles.
Yeah, well, that would be great. So I'm really happy to be here and to be able to spread some smiles across the audience. So
Fabulous. So before we get into the conversation, I like to begin with a question from my heart opener deck. So here's one for you today, Sally. When did someone's compassion change everything for you?
Oh, that's an interesting question. So I think it was even just a couple of days ago. I just got a message from someone who just happened to message me, and I just sent a message back. They said straight away, "Look, I know you're struggling. Let's get on a Zoom call. We'll have a chat." And she was just there. She just gave 2 hours of her time, knowing that I needed someone to talk to, and it meant the world to me that she was there to listen to me and that I mattered and she saw me and she wanted to understand me. It was really quite amazing.
Yeah.
She's someone I've only just met recently, only a couple of months ago. So it was amazing.
Fabulous. And it's wonderful when somebody connects with you like that out of the blue, and when you really need it, they're there for you. And I know that we're going to find lots of moments like that in this show. So you have worked with people, like I said, the invisible, the people who feel unseen. And what do you notice most about people when they first walk into these spaces?
Look, I think so. I've worked with people with alcohol and drug problems, people with disabilities, and people who might have separated from partners or whatever. What I've found is when I've worked with people, they feel quite scared, anxious, not sure about how their reaction will be. So a lot of people have been stigmatized and felt like people were judging them. So there's this level of anxiety that, oh my goodness, how are people going to approach me? What reaction am I going to get? And actually, am I going to be accepted? What will they think of me? So there's really that element of anxiety and fear of, how people are going to get treated. It's quite overwhelming for many. And a lot of people I've worked with are even scared to make that first time to see you. They're like really scared of actually walking in the doors to see someone for support, or even putting their eyes up to say hello or a smile. It's really, quite this barrier there. It's quite hard.
Yeah. So let's talk about breaking down that barrier to make people feel safe in those circumstances. How do you confront with that when people come in feeling like their life is falling apart, that they're worthless, that they're at the bottom of the barrel? What's that you need to?
Well, and I think the first thing is, I think people often underestimate that power of a smile. So, that smile, it's this universal connector. It's something that everybody understands. It's something that we learn from childhood. So, a smile is something that just breaks the barriers because you feel seen and people feel happy. And, immediately as you smile, it releases feel good chemicals. It improves your motivation, it calms your mood, and it reduces pain and anxiety. So that simple movement actually can lower those levels of stress straight away and just show that someone matters and you actually see them.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It is just such a simple thing, and it does make that difference for them to do that. So what difference does it make to them when they feel that that they suddenly feel, maybe I'm safe here? Is that what the smile kit does for them?
And a smile is known to be a sign of safety, warmth, and acceptance. So it immediately you can see the shoulders kind of go, you can take a deep breath and kind of relax. So immediately it just lowers that level and does provide that level of safety that, I feel like I'm okay here. I'm accepted. I actually belong. And no matter what I say or how I appear, it will be okay. I think it says so much in just that simple action of, definitely that safety is a huge thing. And it opens the lines of communication from there.
Yeah. Uh, you shared another story with me when I spoke to you the other day about a lady in the street. I'd love you to share that story.
Oh, yeah. So I was walking down the main street of my town and I saw there was a lady and she was sitting on a seat near the traffic lights. And I could just tell that she didn't look okay. She looked like she was struggling a little bit. And something inside me just thought, I've just got to smile and ask her if she's okay. So I did. I just smiled and said, "Hey, are you okay?" And she said, "No, actually, I'm not." And she said, "I've got all these things going on." She had a few medical problems and she felt like everybody else had ignored her and dismissed her. And what resulted was I just sat down beside her and I just took the time and I just listened to her for probably 20 minutes. I just let her say what was happening. At the end, I said, "Look, I'm really sorry. I can't help you. Like, I would love to do more." And she just said, with a beautiful smile, she said, "You have made my day because you stopped, you smiled at me, and you asked if I was okay. And the most important thing and valuable thing you could have done for me today is see me. Even if you can't help me, that simple thing has meant so much to me." And it really, in, enforced in me, I guess, the power of that smile and how you don't need to fix someone's problems. You don't need to be able to solve the world. But if you're just there and notice someone, it can make a huge difference to their life. And she would have gone to the next appointment feeling better about herself. She might have been a bit upset and angry, but when she approached customer service, she would have been more relaxed. And, she probably would have smiled at people down the street and people probably smiled back. So because smiles are contagious as well, that impact can actually flow on. So it's actually quite remarkable.
Yeah, it is. And that's the thing, is that people can feel like they're invisible while they're still surrounded by a lot of other people. And just that smile and that kind word can change their day. And you don't know, it could change their whole life because they're just going, okay, I can do this. It gives them the opportunity to open up. And what is it that people, it makes me wonder what people are really longing for in those moments. It's that need to have that little bit of connection, that little bit of being seen, so that they're ready to get on with their, so that they can get on with their life. It's a bit, so much just in that moment. So let's just have a quick break while I grab my chocolate. You know I love my chocolate. And see who is sponsoring us on this show to help make it happen. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment.
When I hit perimenopause, all I heard was doom and decline until I took a sacred pause and I went searching for women who were radiant after menopause, like Dr. Christiane Northrup, Dr. Vandana Shiva, and the late Dr. Gladys McGarry, still shining at 103. In this book, I share their stories and wisdom and the magic that menopause truly holds. 7 Wonders of Menopause is a sacred reminder. You're not ending, you're returning. Available at independent bookshops in Australia and Amazon around the world.
Did you know that only 30% of speakers are women and that only 13% of panels feature women? In order to change that, there is now a directory at womenspeakers.com.au where you can go and search for a speaker. We also have groups on Facebook and LinkedIn under the name Australian Women Speakers, where you can just go and post about your event and women will respond.
And we're here today with Sally Pymer, and we're talking about smiles. So a week or so ago, I was sitting with a group of people and we were talking about things you can do to help people make people feel better and things you can do to make a difference in people's lives. And at that particular moment, a father came and gave his wife their baby, who's a few months old. And the baby looked at me and he had this massive grin on his face, just smiling. It was like the first thing that I've learned in life is to smile and to find the reactions that it gives to people. And so it makes me think that what happens when we smile in the body? There's more than just, it's more than just a muscular reaction. Something happens to us. What is it that happens within us when we smile?
Well, when you smile, it releases feel-good chemicals. Like I said, so dopamine, which improves your motivation, and serotonin, which stabilizes your mood, endorphins that, they reduce pain and, make you feel better. But smiles also make you live longer because, well, they can make you appear longer because they reduce your blood pressure, they improve your immunity, they lower your anxiety, and yeah, it is even suggested that they can make you appear younger. So I mean, that's pretty good to appear younger. But yeah, I mean, to think that they make you feel good, they improve your health and make you live longer and appear younger, like that's pretty significant. I think, I think the impact that can have on the healthcare system. Like, if you're improving your life and things, well, then can that reduce the pressure on the healthcare system because we're all a whole lot more healthier? And they're contagious too. So when you smile, someone else smiles. So not only do you improve your own health, you also improve others as well and boost their moods.
So why are they so contagious?
I'm not really sure. I think it is your brain picks up on a smile. Yeah, I'm not sure. Your brain picks up on that message because when you can even smile and be fake, but your brain picks up on that and thinks it must be real. So you release those feel-good chemicals even if you're not actually feeling it yet. But yeah, there's just something about it that, yeah, they just must be, and maybe because they're a connector, maybe it's inbuilt in us that if they're contagious, you will have that connection because social connection is so vital for, our health and our wellness.
Yeah. I think I'm just kind of flicking back in my memory and thinking, I'm sure that I've seen that like chimp smile because it's presented as a sign that I am not a threat.
Oh.
So when I smile at you, you know that I am not a threat. It needs to be a genuine smile. And I found myself doing that in, say, I've been in airports or shopping centres, right in the middle of the Islamic phobe heavy times, which probably still is. But I would find myself purposely looking towards somebody who was in their religious garb and smiling. And also I would do that, if anti-Semitism's been really bad, if I see someone who is clearly Jewish, I would smile at them so that, it's just a sign that, hey, I'm not a threat and I accept you for who you are. And I don't know whether it makes a difference, but, I'm out there smiling at people.
Yeah, and I think it would make a huge difference, because I think, that smile does show that acceptance. And especially if you feel like you might be stigmatized or you might feel a bit of an outer, it does provide that sense of safety that I just see you and accept you how you are, and you don't need to be anybody else. And I'd be interested in the response that you got back too, Andrea. What response did you get back?
Yeah, I haven't taken a lot of notice with that, but I've just kind of felt like there is that moment of them feeling a little bit safer in their community. You just see something shift slightly on their face that not everyone is a threat to them. Not everybody is going to give them is going to be negative towards them. So I really hope it makes a difference, and but why do you think that people are losing this sense of connection, that they're just not connecting?
Yeah, I think often, you see people now with their phones as well. So like years ago, you wouldn't have your phones, but you see people walking down the street and they've got their heads in their phones, and you're missing those opportunities to actually see someone face to face and smile at them. And, the incidental that you can have, I mean, even if you go to a supermarket or a shopping centre now, often there is the self-serve checkouts. So, and you can do online banking. You don't need to go to a bank anymore. So I think sometimes those incidental opportunities to smile at someone have decreased. And, definitely, more people are online. There's less social activity often. And even, at school, often a lot is on computers rather than that face-to-face with the teacher at the front. So,
Yeah. And also we give that you can see that opposite thing happening. Because if you go into, say, a shop and or some kind of situation and you've got a negative feeling, we get a different reaction from people.
Yes, definitely. And, and I can say I had a couple of experiences. I went away for the weekend and I went to a motel where I had to wait for a long time to get in. There are a lot of dramas, but the person there smiled, and I did not care I had to wait an hour because they were so friendly. And another shop, I went in there to buy a sandwich, and she was grumpy right from the start. And my feeling of that place was, even though the sandwich was beautiful, I would be more likely to go to the motel that I had to wait an hour than the coffee shop that, they were grumpy. So it was that simple first reaction as well. That smile meant so much. It was definitely eye-opening to me.
Yeah, and it does. I've had situations like that when I've actually been misread. So, for example, I went into a hospital with my husband. This is many years ago, and he had kidney stones, so he's in some immense pain. And the person who was in the ER section, just registering us, completely misread my emotions of anxiety for aggro. And I just got this aggro back from her. It was just fascinating. Maybe she'd had a whole lot of aggro people before her.
Well, maybe. But that's that impact, isn't it?
Yeah.
impression and thing like that. So yeah, to get that aggro back. But yeah, you can misread and go, oh, that's, you know, you're anxious, but it could come up across as
Yes.
aggro.
But
And
it
yeah,
makes
and it yeah, sorry.
yeah, it makes us think about if something is so simple, something so simple as a smile can shift how people feel. Why is it that we hold back on that? And that's something for us to think about. It's just like, why do I hold back? Why don't I smile at people? Why don't I just offer them that little piece of me in that split second? So let's jump, while we ponder that, let's have a quick chocolate break, and you can think about that one yourself while we listen to our wonderful sponsors who make me smile.
Introducing 123 Read to Me. We give books to children who don't have books so they can succeed. Help us give away books to supported playgroups, kindergartens, schools, community events. Come and sort books. Donate money. $5 equals one book in the hand of a child. Because just one book a day creates clever, kind and confident kids. 123 Read to Me. If this interests you, let's talk.
You've ticked the boxes: career, commitments, calendar that's more packed than your pantry, but something's still missing. In Compassionate Purpose, Andrea Putting invites you to stop chasing busy and start living with intention. This book is about real fulfillment through small acts of compassion, purpose-driven service, and meaning that last. No pressure, no perfection, just purpose with heart. Compassionate Purpose, Discovering a Life of Fulfillment. Search for Andrea Putting on Amazon. So we're here today with Sally, and we're talking about smiling. So I'm looking forward to going a bit further with this. So, Sally, I often talk about the ABC of community: acceptance, belonging, contribution. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, because I thought, smiling kind of fits into all this ABC. So acceptance. So when someone smiles at you, what message does that send to somebody?
Well, I think straight away you smile. It's I see you and I accept you. I think that's pretty much straight away. That smile shows that acceptance straight away, and that you're worthy of smiling at and you're worthy of being included. So I think that, yeah, that's definitely that acceptance straight away. So powerful.
It does, because if you think about it, if you walked into, say, a new group of people, so you were going to an event and you walk into a new group and no one smiled at you,
Yep.
You're likely to walk out, aren't you?
Oh, definitely. You would want to turn around and walk out because you feel like you're on the outer and you're not included in that group.
Yeah. So then we have belonging. So do you feel it is that often the smile, the first step towards someone feeling they belong?
Oh, yeah, I think so, because I think in order to belong, you have to feel like you're accepted. So, yeah, that's definitely it. And, that's smiling. I think it does. It's that mutual thing, because they're contagious. You smile back. It's all of a sudden, we've got this in common. We smile at each other. We see each other. So we actually belong together.
Yeah.
So definitely great as well, yeah.
And
I love your ABC, yeah.
Yeah. And finding that commonality with people is key, I find, and that's what I encourage people to do when they have a chocolate and coffee break with someone who is different to them, is to find that belonging, that commonality that they have, and that can make a big difference for them.
Oh, yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I was at an event last night, and we just, by asking a simple question, it was amazing. And, we met each other at the door with a smile. That was it. As you come in, there were a lot of new people. You get a smile as you come in, and then they feel like they belong. But asking questions, stuff, that there was so much belonging in there that could actually happen after that initial meeting and initial smile and acceptance. Yeah, it was powerful.
And then I have C for contribution, and I can see that just smiling at people can make an enormous contribution to a community. So if that moment spreads from one person to another, what happens to a community?
Oh, and that's exactly right. Because they're contagious, they just spread so much. And I think I did a bit of a study that, if I smiled at 5 people today and then they smiled at 5 people, whatever, it was only going to take a matter of a week before the whole world could smile. So you
Woo!
think that's a fair contribution. And I think often we think ourselves that what can we do to change the world? We're only one person. We don't have the power to do that. But, you think this one smile can spread across the whole world. That is quite a big contribution and quite powerful. It's really quite impressive. So, we all do have the power to make that difference and contribute with a
We
little
do.
thing.
We absolutely do. And like I said, it's so simple. I know I talk about chocolate and coffee break being so simple, but that's even more simple. And you've got to do that first. When you smile at someone, then if you start a conversation, you might want to invite them for a chocolate and coffee break and have some more smiling at each other to help each other feel like you belong. Nice cuppa, chocolate, you'll be right.
Well, that's right. And I think the smile is that entrance to do that. Like it's kind of the way that you can enter to be able to take it to that coffee and that break.
Yeah.
And you never know where it can end.
Yeah.
Where it can progress from there, I guess. So yeah. And how amazing is it to sit with a coffee and a chocolate? And it could all start with a smile.
Yep, that's right. So you share this message with people. How do you share it with people?
Oh, so I do a lot of social media where I do it. I write a fortnightly column every week. So I just volunteer my time for a local paper to spread the message about the power of a smile, but how it can break down stigma and how it can encourage inclusion and connection. But I also wear merchandise. I wear Smiley t-shirts everywhere, and so people can, if I'm not smiling, which is rare, then people can actually see it on my stomach. I also hand out smiley cards randomly to people. I go, "You've got a beautiful smile." Take a card and pass it on to someone, or look at it when you're having a bad day. So it's just these little messages that you can put out there. And I've noticed with the cards, sometimes people have found out it's me because I do it anonymously a lot. And they said, "You don't know the difference that made. I had a bad day. I looked at my smiley card that night and all of a sudden I felt better." And once again, it's a simple thing. All it is a smile on a card which says your smile can change the world. But it can have such a huge impact. And I think often we look for complicated solutions when really the things are quite simple. Like you said, Andrea, a coffee and a chocolate. It can be quite a simple way to connect in the world and show that you matter. And a smile can do that too.
Yeah. So it's amazing, isn't it? So simple. So how can people find you, find out more about you and your merchandise and things like that, so that they can spread the smile?
Yeah, so I have a website, which is www.empoweredwithsally.com.au. I'm also on Instagram, which is Empowered with Sally, and LinkedIn under my name, Sally Pymer. So I tend to just spread some messages on LinkedIn and social media pretty much daily, and it relates to my everyday life as well. What I see, this is my experience, and yeah, I just spread that. So it's really great. I do that, and I love it. I love spreading the message.
Yeah, and when you love what you're doing, you keep on doing it, just like me with chocolate and coffee.
Yeah.
Yes. Every episode, we invite people to brew the change, one small action they can take this week. So here's today's invitation. Over the next week, offer 3 genuine smiles to people you might normally walk past. Not the quick, polite kind, but the kind that says, "I see you." Maybe it's a supermarket worker, someone sitting alone, a neighbor you haven't spoken to before. Then notice what happens, because sometimes building connection doesn't start with big programs or policies. Sometimes it starts with a simple human moment. So give it a go. So thank you, Sally, for being our guest today. And it's been great talking to you about smiling.
Thank you so much for having me along, Andrea. It's been great to share some smiles with you.
It has been, and we always enjoy a good smile. So that's all we have for today on Chocolate and Coffee Break. And thank you, everyone, for joining us again. And I'm sure you can go out there and do some smiles. But meanwhile, until next time, let love be the loudest voice.